It's Champions League time. Arsenal take on Real Madrid. They've just had some bad news that Gabriel is out for the rest of the season. But there's someone sat on this desk who thinks they've got a chance, and he really believes it.
They have. They've got a chance. I think that, again, the Gabriel injury is a killer. It's an absolute killer. But I just look at the composition of this Arsenal side, and I like it. I like the size. I like the guide of their midfield. I like the defence. Obviously, without Gabriel, it's a lot weaker. But I look at this Real Madrid team, and they've not wowed me, both in the Liga and in the Champions League. They've just got the job done. Probably the most impressive performances at the Bernabeu against Man City. I think that's what alerted everybody. But over two legs, you could argue that Atletico Madrid were the better team and should have gone through. And so Arsenal need to make sure they win this game. They need to win this game at the Emirates. And I think they've got a great chance of it. I know their issues are going forward and putting the ball in the back of the net on a consistent basis. And despite the fact that Moreno's scored goals recently, they're not great goals. The goal he scored midweek was terrible, and the way he celebrated as if he scored a worldie. But I think they've got a great chance going into this game. And in the Champions League, it is just a knockout competition. And there's this belief or notion that Real Madrid win the Champions League every year. They don't. There's years where they go out early. There's years where they don't perform on the biggest stage. And I know when you're looking at this side, pound for pound, man for man, it's one of the most talented football teams we've ever seen. But they've not played like it this season. I think if Arsenal play like Arsenal can and stifle and frustrate Madrid, there's a great chance they get the win at the Emirates and take a lead to the Bernabeu.
Hypothetically, in the Champions League, anyone has a chance against anyone. It's only 180 minutes, but talking from anyone who watches football, they didn't have a chance before Gabriel got injured, and they certainly don't have a chance now. And it's not even an Arsenal thing. Maybe if they had a top-class striker and they'd bought someone in January, maybe you'd feel more confident. But you just look at that Real Madrid 11. I was saying to you before, that might genuinely be the best team of all time, player for player, especially when they get Trent in next year. And I think what you say is right. They haven't been playing that well recently. They've conceded quite a lot of goals over the last 5 games. They've only won by 1 goal. Drew to Real Sociedad at home 4-4. Conceded some pretty sloppy goals. But it is just Real Madrid. Just the history of Real Madrid in this competition. And far better teams have come up short against Real Madrid. And I just think without Gabriel, without a top striker, with Saka only just coming back, they're just going to really struggle.
The thing for me is, I'm with you. I honestly think... In fact, Kweku, before Gabriel's injury, how much of a chance did Arsenal have?
I thought they had a very good chance.
Give me percentages.
Of going through or winning this game.
Going through,
I would have said they had a 45% chance
That's
of
an
going
insane
through.
number.
Yeah.
I honestly thought you were going to say 4 or 5%.
Nah, 45% chance of going through. I like the matchup. I think they match up quite well.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like the matchup, but I think that the matchup is one thing, but then player for player, what Madrid possess going forward. Mbappe's now got 22 La Liga goals. I honestly thought you were going to say 4 or 5. I'm actually quite shell shocked. You said 45%.
Yeah.
You're a pretty rational football fan.
Okay, let me amend that. 40%. Yeah, 60%.
You haven't amended it much that much.
Yeah, 60%. Because I genuinely think Arsenal got a great chance, and with Martinelli and Saka back in the starting 11, I think that I don't know why, but I believe in youth. I believe in ignorance in the Champions League and players who haven't been there before. The stage is not too big. The fact that you could bring a player like Wanyeri off the bench, I think he will have an effect over these 2 games. I think he will either register a goal or an assist and have a big effect if Arsenal do go through. So I know that man for man, they look a lot worse than Real Madrid, but it's the Champions League. I've seen, maybe it's coming from my perspective as a Chelsea fan, I have seen terrible Chelsea teams. I've seen Ryan Bertrand start a Champions League final for us against Bayern Munich in their own stadium in the final, and Chelsea still go through. So it's the Champions League. Any team's got a chance.
Let's dissect this further, because I think let's dissect Madrid's end, because obviously we're in the camp of Madrid are definitely going to go through. What is it that's making you say, aside from the fact that it's history, because like Kweku very correctly said, they don't always win it, and this season their fans have been really frustrated at Ancelotti because they're tactically a little bit all over the shop. They're playing a midfielder at right back. Mendy's been out of sorts for a while. Rudiger's not in the best form, but then that front 6 is electric. Obviously, Madrid are going to score a lot of goals.
Well, honestly, the thing is, it doesn't really matter to me often that much how well the team plays. They just have individuals who always come up in moments. You talk about the front 6. You got Fede Valverde playing at right back, who can only score from 50 yards with 300-mile-an-hour shots, and he does it regularly. And that's what this whole Ancelotti team has been built on. That's kind of what Real Madrid have been built on, is having exceptional individuals providing at moments where you think all hope is lost. They did it against Manchester City at the beginning of the season. They won that game. They shouldn't have won that game, but because of a couple lapses in judgment, and they pounce on every single mistake. It's not like you can give Madrid a few chances and they'll be wasteful. David Raya might have an amazing game. If they get a chance, they will score because of the players that they have. And you can talk about the front three. You've got Vinicius, who's second in the Ballon d'Or. Many people think he should have won it. Mbappe, who's scoring goals for fun now. Rodrigo, who doesn't get enough credit. But then just look at the three players behind them. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, who scores goals for fun. I just think it might be disrespectful to Arsenal, who I've said, and you've said as well, actually, that they're probably more suited to the Champions League this year than to the Premier League, because they are very solid, they are fantastic in defence, they're very well organised. It's no disrespect to them. There is simply just too much quality there, and I don't think Arsenal have the firepower to counter it.
Let's look at this midfield, because when you were reading out that midfield, I agree with you. Names-wise, definitely Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Camavinga are outstanding. Camavinga's not been great after his injury. Tchouaméni's constantly got question marks on him. Jude's obviously the standout. But then also do have Rice, they do have Odegaard, two phenomenal players, and then Thomas Partey. And I think the matchup actually isn't... Maybe people at home are going to go, no way, like, think about the names, but if you go pound for pound, the distance isn't as big as maybe, definitely not the front three.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference in terms of it is in terms of ability. Real Madrid's got so many good
I'm
players.
saying in terms of current form, Camavinga's come back from an injury. He hasn't been in great form.
Well, the midfield's where Arsenal got an advantage. How I think Arsenal will set up, especially with the Gabriel injury, is that I think that out of possession, Partey might drop a little bit deeper and help out on the right-hand side. So it almost forms a back three, and I think that matches up quite well with Real Madrid's front three, and just helps out Luis Skelly on the left and whoever plays on the right. And again, people might say boring Arsenal. I think that Mourinho will basically act as another midfielder, and they'll play without a striker. Saka may be going a little bit more central than he is ordinarily, just to help out. But I think it's going to be a very defensive Arsenal team, and they just have to capitalise on their opportunities. But man for man in that midfield, I know that Bellingham's one of the best players in the world, and Tchouaméni and Camavinga are incredibly talented, but Partey, Odegaard and Rice are great players in their own right. I think they've got a chance, man. I really, really do. And I know this might come back to bite me, and people can't cook me in the comments when Arsenal get turned over 4 or 5-0 at the Emirates, but there's just something about this game. There's something about the composition of this Arsenal team. And there's something about the managers as well. Ancelotti is one of the greatest managers of all time, top 3 in my opinion. But this season, there has been holes tactically with Ancelotti. And if you talk to Real Madrid fans, they've been questioning some of his decision making. I've always said it, and it was a tweet. It was a tweet from Mywa Quadri. He said that Ancelotti is a manager that gives you a sense that the economy will regulate itself. Yeah. He kind of lets it play out, and then obviously that's doing him discredit. He is proactive in the way that he manoeuvres and manipulates his tide. But Arteta is the opposite of that. To the minutiae, he's very detail orientated. I think in the Champions League that serves him well. His team had the opportunity to learn last year, made it to quarterfinals, and I feel like this is the year that they take it a step further, and I think Arsenal go through over both legs.
The only other thing that I would say is I think we've both mentioned it.
What did you say at the end?
Oof, I gave it away.
What? Did you just say Arsenal?
I gave it away. I gave it away.
Oh, you said we'll come back to that.
I gave it away.
We're going to come back to that.
That's crazy. That's actually absolutely blown my head. But we've all of us have said, particularly over the last couple of years, that Arsenal play a lot better when they're confident in games. There have been lots of big games towards the end of the season, particularly I think Aston Villa at home last year, where there was a fear. There was clearly a fear in the way that Mikel Arteta set up. There was a fear amongst the players, and that's why they couldn't get over the line in the Premier League last year. And I do worry that when you're playing against Real Madrid, you just can't avoid that fear. I think if Arsenal go out very confident that they can beat them, which I don't think they will be, I think the players will genuinely be fearful of, and I think it might be a genuine case of like damage limitation in the first leg. Let's try and sit off. If we can go to the Bernabeu with 0-0, we've actually got a chance of progressing, and I just can't see it happening.
All right. We're going to get predictions, but because of what you said, Kweku, I want everything factored in, because I would go as far as saying this is the most ludicrous thing you said.
Do you think? I think Arsenal win this game at the Emirates. I'm actually pretty confident on that. Over 2 legs, it's Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. You got to go there and do the job. Arsenal win this game. I'm torn between 1 or 2-0. I think Arsenal take the lead, and it's whether they can go and get a second. I think Arsenal win this game 1-0. They take a 1-0 lead to the Bernabeu.
And you think Arsenal go through?
I think Arsenal go through as things currently stand. I think Arsenal go through.
That's mad. As things currently stand,
I think Arsenal go
But
through.
they've just lost their best defender.
I think Sleep is a better defender than
not this
Gabriel.
season. Not this
Not
season.
He
this
just
season.
is. He just is.
No,
this is,
but-
this is a whole.
He's that guy.
This
He
is
is
a whole
that guy,
different
but this
video.
season
Yeah.
Gabriel's been better.
All right, Kim.
I think they'll put up a spirited performance. I think they'll put up a good performance, and I do see them scoring a goal. I think it'll be a narrow, like horrible Real Madrid 2-1 win, but then I think at the Bernabeu they'll blow them away.
I think Arsenal, like, I also believe there is a chance, but only because it's football, not because Arsenal have a chance. Like, if this was Brighton against Madrid over 2 legs, I'd say Brighton have a chance. I think if Arsenal go back to the way they played at the start of the season, play for set pieces, put loads of balls into the box. Madrid have been very susceptible from set pieces. Arsenal haven't had their set piece charm and don't have Gabriel. I think that could make it tight, but I'm with Kim. I think Madrid win this 2-1, jammy Madrid style, but then I think it gets ugly at the Bernabeu. But you let us know in the comments what's going to happen, because I don't think many people are going to agree with you, Kweku.